So I'll either go as president or I'll be depressed and I won't bother going. I think they're having a fight right now.
One of the things that was fascinating also was the denial of the election results is a pretty common thing. Hillary Clinton famously denied that she called you an illegitimate president, and she said that Russia put you in place.
Even though she conceded.
Yes.
She conceded the night of the election because she was beaten.
Yes, and it was a thing that was pretty common for people, especially Democrats, to deny the elections. There's been many of them. The Bush administration, the dangling chads, all that stuff.
Well, look at these guys in Congress. All these sleazebags in Congress that are Democrats. They're still denying 2016. But now they don't so much because, they try and pin it on me. You don't hear them say
But here's my
they
point.
denied it right up until the end.
My point is, this idea of election fraud is a forbidden topic, and you get labeled an election denier. It's like being labeled an anti-vaxxer if you question some of the health consequences that people have had from the COVID-19 shots. Oh my God, you're an anti-vaxxer. If you say, and what I say publicly, and I've said this a lot, it's not 0%. So if you ask me what is the amount of election fraud in this country, is it 0%? No one thinks it's 0%. I've never met one person, not a super liberal, progressive, far left person or a right-wing conservative. Not one person thinks it's 0%. They think when you have human beings, and also you have a lot of weirdness that was going on during the 2020 elections, particularly with mail-in ballots.
And you had legislatures that had to approve, and they didn't approve, and they went out and did it anyway. And you had old-fashioned ballot screwing. I mean, you had, you have people going up and dropping in phony votes. You had unsigned ballots, et cetera, et cetera.
There's certain people that think that they have, and there's the rhetoric is also that you're Hitler, and that in order to stop Hitler, you have to do whatever it takes.
That was okay, yeah.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, you're hearing this now. Kamala compared you to, said your love of Hitler yesterday.
Kamala's a very low IQ person. She's a very low IQ. I'm for taking tests too. I think anybody that runs for president they should give them tests. And it's not an age thing, it's not based. If you look back on history, 70s and 80s, some of your greatest leaders in the world history, long-time world history, they were in their 70s and their 80s. But I think you should take cognitive tests. I think they say it's unconstitutional. But I think Kamala should have a test because there's something missing. There's something wrong with her.
Well, I think it's pressure. I think the pressure and the scrutiny. You've been a celebrity for a long time, and you understand what this is like. But for someone who's in her late 40s, who becomes the vice president, who runs for president, becomes the vice president, and then all of a sudden the weight of the world is on your shoulders, and there's all these people paying a lot of people clam up.
But you either have it or you don't.
Correct.
Look. This is an interview. We've covered a lot of territory, right? And it's fine. I don't care. I want to. I think it's much more interesting. To do an interview with Anderson Cooper, a crazy softball interview. She took 2 days off and she studied all day long, and then she comes out with a result that was a real embarrassment. That was a really bad interview. She couldn't answer a question, and every question's not answered. I mean, like, what would you do your first day in office? Okay, I'll build a wall. I won't build a wall. There's 100 things you can say. Just say anything, right? There's something off with it.
Well, I also
we're dealing with the smartest people. They hate when I say, when I call President Xi, they say, he called President Xi brilliant. Well, he's a brilliant guy. He controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. I mean, he's a brilliant guy, whether you like it or not. And they go crazy.
Right, it doesn't mean it's not evil, or it doesn't mean it's not
of course not.
Dangerous.
But actually, we have evil people in our country.
Yes.
If you have a smart president, he can deal with Russia, he can deal with all of it. Russia would have never gone into Ukraine if I were president.
How would you have stopped it?
Automatic, 2 things.
Hello, George. You alright, mate?
You're not going in. I used to talk to him all the time. You're not going in.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what I told him, because I think it would be inappropriate. But someday he'll tell you, but he would have never done it.
Just don't be out the back.
Oil prices at $40 a barrel.
Yeah, just ask to my list.
The money to prosecute that war. Wouldn't have given him the money. I said it with President.
Do you like that? Do you like the sound of that?
I was with President. Yes, it was almost the same conversation with Vladimir. It was Moscow. With President Xi, it was Beijing. It's almost the exact same conversation. said, don't do it. He would have never done it. The day I left, they flew 28 bombers over the middle of Taiwan. 28 bombers.
Shit.
And it's the apple of his eye, and the same thing with Russia. It's the apple. Ukraine is the apple of his eye. I used to talk to him. I had a very good relationship with him. He wouldn't have done it. He would have never done it. But he also wouldn't have done it because of the, you know, one of the reasons that what happened is, number one, he doesn't respect Biden at all. Not even a little bit. And who the hell would? But he doesn't respect him. But when he saw what happened in Afghanistan, how horribly that was handled. Number one, you take the soldiers out last, not first. Okay, that was their big mistake. And we had that thing charted out, and they weren't obeying us. They weren't. Abdul is the head of the Taliban. Boom, boom, he had to do all these things. Some he didn't do. I said, nope, you're not doing. You got to do them more. This guy he immediately took all. He left the equipment behind. 13 soldiers dead, but he took everybody out. He took the soldiers out before. A child would know. That's where Millie was so stupid. He was such a stupid guy. Millie. Okay. Those generals should have all been fired. The people that were involved with Afghanistan should have all been fired. Lyndon B. Johnson thinks about that, how stupid he was, how bad he was. But you take your soldiers out now. I had a big rally and I saw a child in the front row about a year and a half ago, and I called the child up. I said, do you mind if I borrow your child? Oh yes, please. And they came up, the kid's 5 years. I gave him a quick detail. I said, do you want to get out of this place? And we have this, and we have this, and we have the equipment. I gave him a little bit. I said, do you take your soldiers out first or last? Do you take them out last? The child would not know. Took their soldiers out first. And we let them pass, we let them pass.
Well, not only that, about billions of dollars worth of equipment and military vehicles that extravagant.
The best equipment was American, the best equipment in the world.
The Taliban parade where they've got tanks rolling down the street, Black Hawk flying, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
We left
We left
the
all that
best
stuff there.
equipment in the world behind.
What would you have done differently?
Well, number one, we would have taken it out. Just so you go back a little bit further. I had a couple of conversations with them. And from the time I had those conversations, because they were shooting our soldiers, you know, the sniper stuff. They were shooting a lot. They were shooting a lot with them. Much less with me, but they were shooting them. And I said, get this guy in the phone. Get this guy in the phone. I had a great conversation. It was a tough conversation. 18 months later, there wasn't one soldier massive base. It's got tremendous acreage around it. Tremendous. It's a very big deal. Many years ago. And part of the reason you wouldn't have taken that is because it goes to China. 1 hour from where China makes its we should have never left Bagram. We should have left from Bagram. We should have left we have Americans that are still there. They should have put it all there, put it down. guy's great. I like this guy. I was told it would take 5 years. That's why I went. I said, how could it take 5 years? We have brand new fighters. We have the best planes, the best weapons, the best guns, the best bombs. How could it possibly take that long? And I flew in, left at 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody knew I was going. I got on Air Force One. We started flying. And when we reached about half an hour away from Iraq, that was where the airport was, big airport. About a half an hour away, they said, sir, I'm sorry, you have to turn off all your lights. Why? We're getting close to our site, our land. They said, you mean we spent $8 trillion and we can't leave the lights on? Think of this, 20 years, $8 trillion and we can't leave the lights on in a plane. And I said, that's okay, turn the lights on. I'm not going to fight up. That's what.
This is because it's too dangerous?
Yeah, too dangerous, because they see the light up in the air. They'll shoot it, you know? So, I said, turn the lights on. Then they said, so we're going to also put you shades if that's okay. I said, that's okay. The plane was pitch black. All the lights outside, you know, the blinking, they go up the blinking reds, they were all turned off. And I like to sit with pilots a lot of times, and these guys are specimens. I always say they're better looking than Tom Cruise. Okay, and they're even like perfect specimens. These guys, like for a fighter, you know, you have some guys that are perfect specimens.
Right.
And you know, they pick the best pilots in the Air Force, United States Air Force, to fly Air Force. And I get up there, and I'm sitting, and I'm feeling my way up. You know, sometimes you go through the stairs, but I sort of knew my way up.
Oh, you
Can you imagine? We spent trillions of dollars, and
Is that doing
we're
your
trying
head
to
in
fly in
bugs?
blind.
Well, and I think like if
But
the
I got
drums
into
come
the
through,
plane, the
man,
cockpit's
like that
dark
kind of
black,
rolling.
little tiny light, you can see the pilot.
Yeah, the drums are great.
Perfect
Should we
looking,
like try and do another
co-pilot.
version of it?
Everybody was
Well, should we
perfect. They
listen
were
to
all
it
like
and then-
movie stars.
Yeah,
You know, it's like I could have cast a movie with these guys and nobody would
I
believe
might
it because
make
it was
a
too
little
good.
whiff now.
So I said,